What's going on, family? It's DivineProspect of Kingdom Harvest Ministries. We're out here in Centennial Park, downtown Atlanta. This is a great time to be alive, and the reason why I said it is because we've had Juneteenth celebration year after year after year. I've been to several of them, right? Nothing like this. So today we have a huge march. The people came and met here at 9 in the morning. They marched all the way to the Capitol, did their thing. We came back from the Capitol, converged here in Centennial Park. Now, a couple things I want to say real quick. The most important thing about Juneteenth, a lot of people don't know what the history is. It's when the word went out to the last remaining slaves in the state of Texas, the Confederacy at the time, where they received notice that slavery was over. All right, the war is over, slavery is over, and they were emancipated. All right, so that has become, for us as a black people, a staple in our history to know that we were liberated. Now, interestingly enough, we saw that they only did what's called slavery by another name. So even though we were physically, released the restraints, we were still enslaved in other means. You can go back and study the history of Reconstruction and the early 1900s and all the way up to the Civil Rights Movement, right? But today, this is something that's paramount, and it took the COVID-19 disease to permeate throughout society to remove all the distractions so people are forced to see what's going on in society and the injustice that we're really facing and to confront it head on. And this is one of the results of what you see, all right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna mingle around, we're gonna talk to a couple of people, we're gonna head forward to the stage, we're gonna catch as much as we can, chop it up for you guys, put it in a nice little package for you guys, and the most important thing is what's next. After we protest, after we raise our voice, after we speak, after we do all these things, what is the next step? So that's one of the main things that I'm gonna ask a couple of our interviewees. I'm gonna ask them, what is the next step? What do we do from here? And how can we transform Juneteenth to just being a historic event to something that is present and future in regards to the liberation of our people here in this country? Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Peace and shalom. So we here at the HE for Justice. All right, we got brother here to introduce yourself. What's your name, brother?
JT.
JT. All right, so JT, let us know a little bit about this, and we got a question too to ask you. So let us know what this is about.
So basically what it is what Jesus did on the third day. He rose. And so what did he do? When he got up, he rose for justice. So that's what we're doing out here. We're spreading love, spreading positivity, talking to everybody that we can about getting out there, making sure your voice is heard, make sure you're voted up, registered, all of that. So that's all we're doing, man. Just trying to spread positivity and love.
Awesome. So my question that I have for you is, after the protest is over, what's the next step that we need to do in order to get liberation here in America?
Vote. That's what we have to do. Vote. That's pretty much it. Because a lot of people, the protest and all of that, that's fine and that's good. But if you're not registered to vote, if you're not out there actually putting people in the White House and in the justice system that you can trust, then nothing's going to change. So it's all about voting.
So do you think it's possible for us to take over our own communities?
I do believe it.
Now, do you know any initiatives that you could join that will help to usher that in?
I wish I did know.
And I know several.
Tell me about it.
You've heard of Stonecrest?
Yes, sir.
You've heard of South Fulton?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What are those?
Those are, you got to help me out.
All right. So those are municipal corporations.
Okay.
So they're pretty much their own little cities. We call them black cityhoods, and the reason why we call that is because previously in the past, you'd have a black community with a white minority in it, and the white minority would be the ones getting involved in politics, and they would control all the legislation for the rest of the majority. So what these places have done is decided that we're going to take back our own community, so we're not gentrified out of them. And what we're going to do is that we're going to appeal to something called the home rule, the state law, which is something called the home rule, where we take state powers, localize it on a small level, and in an unincorporated area of our county, we could turn it into a municipality, take that charter, give it to Congress, have them pass it, and then once it becomes passed, then we can take over our community, and we're allowed to take over certain services and have the county take over others until we're able to take on every service for ourselves and take control of our own town. Now, out here in DeKalb County, you have what's called Imagine Greenhaven, and that's one of the things that we are attempting to do, because if you think about it, if we're the ones that are putting our people in city council, putting our people in the municipal courts and in the public safety,
sir.
And that means when incidents like what we saw happen with George Floyd, it wouldn't happen because you live in the same community as the person that you're policing.
Yes, sir.
Right? You're passing the same laws in the place that you live in. So the ordinances will also directly affect you. And if somebody gets locked up for some small offense, and you know that, come on, why'd you arrest them, whatever. So what you do is you say, look, if a victim is crime, person has no priors, municipal courts, person lives in the community, let's give them a pass. The judges use more of their leniency in those instances. So I'm just gonna put that bug in your ear on top of voting, because voting helps to do those type of things. And then the next step is have our own cityhood, concentrate in that cityhood where the people live, run, and control it. And that way, we don't have to worry about police injustice.
Like Wall Street, bro.
That's how we
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you so much for Brother JC.
Thank
I
y'all.
appreciate your time. Hey, what's up, family? So, as we were walking around the park, we stumbled upon something here that is crucially vital if we're going to see change. And this is a voter registration table. All right, I'm here with Kristen,
Yes.
there we go. Kristen, and they've appointed her as being the lead. So that's the point person we're talking with right now. So I just want to ask her a couple of questions so we can kind of gauge what's going on. You can take a look at her shirt. She said, Atlanta, vote be the change. All right. So, Kristen, what brings you out here today?
Yeah, well, like you said, voting is just a critically important part of being a citizen, and it is one of the ways that citizens really are equal. And so we want everyone to have the opportunity to exercise that right to vote, because it is so important for everyone to get out and vote in state and local elections, as well as the big election we have coming up in November.
So my question is, do you see immediate change if a voting bloc votes for a particular candidate?
Absolutely. I mean, voting is what decides who our leaders are, which decides, so many things about how we live our lives and, how we are treated by each other and by the police, and what protections we have. And so it's critically important, if that's something you care about, to ask those questions of the candidates, and then go out and vote according to your conscience.
So from your, I don't know how long you've been doing this for?
First time, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So from your first time, or just any kind of historic experience, would you say that there's a disparity between different ethnic groups in regards to voting?
Well, I don't have the research in front of me, and I don't know, but I have heard that young people in particular do not turn out to vote in the same numbers as older people do, and there have been a lot of younger people out making their voices heard recently, and so we thought it would be helpful to set up a voter registration table to help folks figure out how to turn their voices into action, and exercise their right to vote.
So by coming out here, do you think you guys will be able to effectively close the gap as far as the generation is concerned, and find a way to inspire the youth to get involved with voting? Because I think a lot of times the youth, because there's not a lot of direction, especially now with social media, everybody wants to have a voice and speak and do something or be somebody. A lot of times the fundamental things that we should be taught growing up in our community, like voting, is something that the youth today doesn't see really a necessity in doing. So they rather protest and speak. Do you think that protest is equally as viable as voting, or do you think that they should work hand in hand, or one should have a higher priority than the other? What's your take in regards to protesting and voting?
Yeah, I don't want to make that call for anybody, because I think, everyone has their own different ways also of making their voices heard. And so I think, in order for people to really feel heard, and for people who want to make change to be able to do that, it's probably not just one thing, and I certainly don't think us just being out here with one voter registration table is going to make all the difference.
You don't know that. You can reach one person, and then they can take that and tell everybody, right?
But I think my point is that it's going to be, a community effort, and it's going to take everybody doing what they can each day. And for us, that's showing up with the voter registration table today, and seeing if there's anyone who isn't registered or who has questions, if we can answer them for them.
Awesome.
So it's it's a community effort, and that's how it should be.
So one last question. So what advice would you have to my community? So statistically speaking, we vote the least in regards to other ethnic groups in the city of Atlanta.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to us so we would know the importance of coming out to register to vote? Not just showing up, but registering to vote. And just a little bit real quick, there's been a lot of polling machine issues in DeKalb and Fulton County. And I did a little documentary where we were talking about that. So, are you an advocate for absentee voting in a situation where it may seem like, to the people on the outside not knowing that there's some kind of voter suppression going on, like, okay, they're not making my voice heard because how come these machines are not working? How come when we try to register for doing absentee voting, it's not going through? What advice would you give to my community so that way we could be more active in the voting process?
Yeah,
Just from your personal, it could be from personal.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I'm here. What we're doing today is nonpartisan, so I can't take any position on any specific initiatives that are going on in the state. But I can say we are here. We've got applications for official absentee ballots that I think it's important. Anyone who's concerned about going to the precinct the day of voting day, who's had issues, you can go ahead and submit this application for November to apply to get an absentee ballot, to get one in the mail ahead of time that you can then mail in, and then you can go to the Georgia Secretary of State's website to confirm that that was received. And so that's one way that we could try to help people vote in advance so they don't have to worry about going to the polls. And then there are fewer people who actually have to go to the polls on voting day. So there are, shorter lines, hopefully. And I think voting early is also very important. Because then, if you're a polling place that you vote early, you're going by and you see there's not a line and there's early voting going on, absolutely stop and go ahead and early vote. Because the earlier you can do it, I think that gives you a better opportunity where you don't get in a situation at the last minute where you're trying to get in and there are issues and you've got to get back to work or you've got kids you've got to pick up. So I know that was just heartbreaking to see the long lines and to see people who were having to get out of line after waiting for hours because they couldn't vote. So I really hope that we avoid some of those issues in November because it's so important that people feel they can vote and that they're being empowered and that the doors are open for them to vote.
Awesome.
So,
well, thank you so much for your time, for giving your personal perspective objectively on what could be done.
Nonpartisan.
You can see their table set up right here. There's a few of them out here. But even one person can make a difference.
Absolutely.
Even them telling one person, hey, let's register to vote. They can go register to vote. You don't know who that individual may be. They may be a community activist. They could be a celebrity. They could be an influencer. You never know. So just by them sacrificing their time to be out here to do this, I believe it's going to make a difference. You'll see.
Let me say one more quick thing.
Sure.
And that is if you're concerned or you're questioning whether you're registered and whether you're registered at the correct address, you can go to the Georgia Secretary of State's website. They have a My Voter page where you can check to see if you're registered. You can also apply for an absentee ballot or mail-in ballot there. You can also see your early polling places for early voting and also for the day of the election.
Awesome. Now,
so you can get all the information there and check to make sure everything's in line and you have a plan for voting this November. I can't endorse any particular website, but I certainly think, obviously, the internet is wonderful. It's a great source, especially if you can go to, nonpartisan sites that have done interviews with candidates or who will summarize candidates' opinions on issues that are important to you. And I also think, particularly for folks who are local, to show up to some of their events. Like if there's an issue that you're passionate about that they're not addressing, absolutely show up and ask them to answer those questions because they owe that to you as constituents. If there's something you care about, that's another way to make your voice heard.
Awesome. All right, so thank you so much, Christian. I appreciate your time.
Of course.
Please continue to make a difference, and we'll see you on the other side. What's going on, family? So I'm out here with Jamal. Jamal's gonna tell us a little bit about what's going on. As you guys see, he has open carry going on right now. I seen several police officers go by. Nobody bothered the brother, unless I'm mistaken.
No, you're right.
All right. So I want him to give you a little bit of idea of what he's doing here, what he's about, and I'm gonna ask him a couple of questions just to see how engaged he is with what's going on here in this movement. All right. So Jamal, you got the floor. Tell us what this is about. I like your shirt though.
Oh, thank you.
Because that's the truth.
Oh, yeah,
Free-ish.
Yeah. So basically, as you know, today's Juneteenth. When slavery ended. So I'm out here, to support that day and also to support my people because just a couple of days ago, I don't know if you heard about the protests on Edgewood, but a random truck pulled up and started shooting at the protest.
What?
Yeah.
No, I didn't hear that.
Killed 2 people and injured about 7. So, I don't want that happening to my people. And the white man only understands when, they hear us protesting, they hear us marching. But they only understand when we use force. So, I got to be out here to protect myself and my people and support today. So that's why I'm out here. I ain't looking for trouble, but if something happened, I'm going to defend me and my people.
So my question is, how much or how serious do you think that the oppressors will take us once we start arming our communities?
Repeat that question.
Yeah, so the system that's oppressing us,
Right.
once they start seeing that we are arming ourselves to defend ourselves,
Right.
do you think that that will also help to catalyze change or cause change to occur once they see that we're willing to defend ourselves?
I think it will a lot, most definitely. Once they start to bury their own and see how serious it is, of course I feel like they'll kind of further back and push that like, oh, we're losing our own, not just them losing their own. You know, so I do feel like it would make a change. So once we start applying that same force and, you know, fighting, standing for ourselves, you know, instead of just, I'm all for, you know, march, protest, but, you know, they're still doing us wrong, so we got to try a different approach, you know.
So do you offer training in regards to handling weapons? I mean, because we need training
most
in our community.
Right, most definitely. I'm not an instructionist or anyone, but I do know how to shoot, so I don't have any problem, you know, helping anybody out, learning how to shoot, learning how to, you know, gun safety and all that good stuff. So I don't have a problem. I'm not a trainer, but
yeah.
I don't have a problem.
So tell us the automatic that you have here that you have on you for anybody that might be interested.
Okay, so this,
and why you chose this as far as your open carry.
So just a little small story. When I went into the gun store, I went for an AK-47. However, this right here is an MK-47. I can put AR-15 clips in here or AK-47 clips in here. So this is
versatile.
Yeah, versatile. This is called the Butte. So that's what they call it or whatever. This is actually basically an AR mixed with the AK. You know, you still get the accuracy of an AR, but still get that, you know, it's very like,
robust.
Yeah, robust like an AK. So it's still wow, but with control. So
yeah, I've been to the range a couple times and I'm familiar with it. That's why I wanted to see why was that your choice.
Yeah, I chose this. Yeah, it's a mixture of.
You know the weight on it?
I don't, but it's not as heavy.
It's kind of light, right?
Yeah, it's kind of light.
Cool.
I changed a couple things out. Laser light combo.
Nice.
I put a grip right here, you know, so I can control.
You don't have no stock on here.
No, this is the stock brace.
Yeah.
Then I changed out the grip, you know, so I can.
Yeah, I see. That's nice.
That, so yeah.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, what you see right here is what we need more of as far as black alpha males in our community, because if we have too many beta males, they're gonna shy away from open carry, defending yourself, protecting your community. And when people see this, they know that we're serious, we mean business, but we can't be isolated doing this. We can't just see one individual, 1,000 black people, and only one person is armed. So what we're trying to encourage our community is not to do anything reckless, because this brother's not doing anything reckless. He's within his constitutional right to carry this, state constitution and federal constitution, but also so people can see that when we come here, you're not going to take advantage of us, you're not going to bully us around, you're not going to tell us what you want to do or even beat, hurt, shoot, or whatever. We have these on us frequently, and we're doing what we need to do, and we upholding the so-called constitution, and we're walking out our rights, the rights that we were given upon birth. Then we are entitled to protect and defend what is ours. And black men and black women, if you are not ready to defend what's yours, then it's not yours. Somebody else owns it. All right, so thank you so much for that, Jamal. I appreciate your time, King. And family, again, this man right here is a statement. That's why I had to stop him and ask him what's going on. And do you have any social media that people can reach you on?
Yeah, social media, my Instagram is _1Zuke. That's ZUKE. I already be on Facebook, but just hit me up on Instagram.
Hit him up on Instagram.
Yes,
all right, peace. Appreciate that, Jamal.
All right, have a good one.
Family, so I'm here with Zach Mills. While we was going around the park, we heard a band. Our people are drawn to music, right? And music can also be a weapon to fight against oppression, right? So right here I'm with Zach Mills, and Zach Mills is going to give us a breakdown of what's going on and taking place behind us.
Hey y'all, we're with the Justice Mass Band ATL. Well, we're here for the peaceful protest and to support the peaceful protest, Black Lives Matter, and the whole social injustice of black people. you know, we're connected through music. Music is the universal language. And so we've been out here for weeks doing this. This is our part where we can help in our way in protesting. So through music and through unity, through music.
So music charges the actual protest,
Yeah.
right? Because you see it creates an aura that inspires people to keep on keeping on. So what would you tell young black musicians coming up how they can play a role in inspiring, marching, protesting, and affecting change in our community?
The first thing is make sure that you're proficient on your instrument through rehearsing and practicing all the time. LeBron didn't come from just anything. Kobe, Michael Jordan just come from anything. And so you have to practice to be great. And so you practice and then you do your part and just show up, man.
Awesome.
And just have a love for it and keep going. Never
Awesome.
give up, never give up.
Awesome. So Zach, how can the people reach you, reach the band, and also can we request you guys for performances and stuff like that?
Yeah, Justice Mass Band on Instagram, Justice_Mass_Band ATL, and we will show up. Yeah. So that's how you can reach us through Instagram.
Awesome. All right, thank you for your time.
All right,
I appreciate it. Have a good day.
I love the skin. I said I love being black. I said I love being black. I love the color of my skin. I love the skin that I'm in.
Alright, man, what's going on? So I wanted to get us a black woman, a strong black woman who's also a parent of a black child right here. And I just wanted to get her take on what's going on here. So please introduce yourself to the people.
Hi, my name is Collie from West Palm Beach, Florida.
All right, so she came all the way from West Palm Beach, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
To be here in Atlanta for Juneteenth, all right? So what's your take on what's going on as far as the current atmosphere in the black community with injustice and racial profiling? Like, what's your kind of stance on it? How you feel about that?
I feel like we need to do something major about it. It's been going on a little bit too long. I mean, pretty much since we've been in this country, we've been prisoners of war, and we need to uprise. We need to fight against it. The oppression has been too much. It's been too long. We need reparations for everything that's happening. We have some demands that we need to be clear about, not just be out in the streets saying, please stop hurting us. We need to actually demand that some things happen. For instance, the reparations, maybe schooling, because my son being a child in the schools, I feel like they target him in more ways than just violently hurting him. They can target him by making him feel less than what he is, by demeaning him, by just bullying him in general, making him feel like he's not as good as the other children. I'm sure a lot of black men can attain to that and protest, or can say that they have gone through similar things. He has himself. He's only 9 years old, so I've gone through those things in my lifetime, and we just need to make a big change.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. It's also a lecture out. It's been out since the 70s, if I'm not mistaken. It's called Destruction of Black Boys. I don't know if you've heard of that before. But in there, yes.
Book, yes.
No, not Omar Johnson.
Okay.
It was, I forgot the name of I can't believe I forgot, but they were talking about how the young black males are being targeted in the school system, and how by the time they graduate, they have so much stigma that's placed on them that it makes it difficult for them to even be successful in everyday life.
Yeah.
So in regards to our next step, so there's a lot of things that we should be doing, we can. What would be your suggestion for the next step after we protest? So you think it should be like the next thing we should do to enact this change?
I think we should put out what exactly it is that we want. We kind of just all over the place as far as, yes, we want justice, but let's define what justice is. For instance, putting these men in jail that are killing us, or people in general. It's not just the police, it's just the general public is also killing us. So we need to demand that those people be put in jail. Again, demand reparations to repair the different things that's happened to us over the years, and just be specific about that.
Awesome. So make a list of demands. have a plan to execute it, get a petition to get X amount of people to support behind it, and stay on top of it until we see change. Do you think that would be a good way to do it?
Yes.
Okay, so out in West Palm Beach, people were rioting out there. Do you see a lot of those rioters as opportunists that have been infiltrating peaceful protests in order to make us look bad in the public eye?
Absolutely. I feel like a lot of the people out there are out there just to not only as opportunists, but in order to diffuse the situation or diffuse what we're really out there for. They've been doing that since, the 60s. When my parents were in college in the 60s, they went to Kent State and they were protesters, and the same thing happened when they were out there. Those people came out and they changed the narrative, and it was no longer about what black people needed. It was about all these different groups and breaking it down and diffusing the whole situation.
Yeah, so I have one last thing to ask you. So I don't know if you've been paying attention to what's going on in Minneapolis, but the Minneapolis City Council has disbanded the police department, or in the process of disbanding the police department with a more community-led model. Do you think that that's something that should be implemented in West Palm Beach, out here in Atlanta, in New York City, as a means of removing the people who have this position of authority that use it to exert over us and make us feel inferior, and actually have the support for policing coming from the actual community themselves, the people that live there and that know the best practices in order to reduce crime and encourage the community to come together and enact change?
I think all across the country, maybe even the world, we need to police our own communities. We don't need to have other people coming from the outside policing us. We should maybe start doing that now just because of our safety. We should have our men out that are able to carry and are able to protect us. Just start doing it now, and then maybe once we get those people, we can have some incentives to start paying them to actually build like a community police system. But awesome. Definitely.
All right, family, so we're wrapping up our protest out here in Atlanta. The protest ends at 4 p.m., which will be done over shortly. What I want to do is show you behind me the remnant of CNN after it was turned up by the rioters. And again, these people are agent provocateurs that's been inserted into these peaceful protests to give us a bad image. You know what I'm saying? So it's good for you guys to see firsthand the destruction that's been done, as opposed to what's going on right now, where things are more organized, there's less rioters, there's more control, and now our voice is really being heard, family. So we thank you guys for watching this. Hope you enjoy what you saw so far. Peace and shalom, family.